Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. I'm calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Luckily, we're not in serious trouble here yet. We could be soon. I know there was problems that happened here which they're not even admitting yet. It'll come out in a wash one way or another. Yes, this virus is going to be a serious problem for the world. It is affecting the world. It is real. I know people don't want to believe anything. People want to say it's this, that, or that thing. Yeah, it could be a lot of things, but it is real and it is killing people. Outside of that, who created it, why, that's up to debate. I mean, you got a couple of different scenarios that it could be, why they would create it, who wants to destroy the population. I'm going to go into a lot of things, but the topic today is about love. But before I do, I want to get this virus out of the way. People are getting it. People are dying. Communities are in serious conditions. A city where my ex-wife used to live is just quarantined. They got the armed guards, FEMA around it, locking it down. People are dying. So if you say it's fake, it's not fake. It'll be fake in your mind until you get it or somebody you know gets it. Sure, not everybody's going to die. Basically, they're saying older people get it, which is kind of a simple reason because their immune system is broken down. Sick people that have a broken immune system will get it, but they do not know why children under 9 aren't getting it. So it was created for a reason, not to destroy little children, but to destroy everything beyond that, up to old age, more so the old age people, so that they can eliminate Social Security and all the things where all the money's going to. But here's one last thing that you need to check out. The UN Agenda 21. All right, now that's basically was agreed on years ago by at least 160 countries agreeing they want one world order. To have one world order, they knew they would have to break up the United States and eliminate some of the population. Put the population where they want them so they can control them. That's what it's all about. That's what they're working for. This fits right into that agenda. Who's in charge of the agenda? Who's going to be the controlling factor of the agenda? Well, that remains to be seen. Who controls these rich, crazy, ignorant people? We don't know if they're controlled by aliens, demons, or just a sick ego. Rich people have a problem. I don't care who they are, where they are, what they say, how much money they donate. If they're still a billionaire with billions of dollars when they die, they're an ignorant fool. All right, sorry, all you rich people, all you people out there trying to make money, trying to tell people to be rich, you're just as ignorant. Money has nothing to do with spiritualism. Spiritualism has everything to do with survival of soul. All right, and by that I mean you're going to die, period, within 125 years. Now, what do you want to take with you? Nothing. You can't. What do you want to leave? That's your choice. Money, children, family. You're going to leave something here. All right, if you don't get married, you might not leave children here, which might be a good thing in one way. All right, otherwise, if you think you're attached to your children, are going to come back and help them and all that, that's just more attachment, which keeps you locked into this realm, into this idea of what it is. So now, all I can tell you is we're running slow today around the world. Planes are stopping, cities are being closed off. It's going to get worse. And as that happens, the disaster grows. People will say, well, that's over there, that's over here, this is nowhere, that's not. Believe it or not, one country locks their doors to society, meaning they can't get in or out. That leaves you in a place where you can't go there, they can't come here. We can't get things from them. Now, China supplies a lot of stuff to the United States. So you can see those things stopping real fast. What we sell to them, people coming back and forth are stopping. But now go into the cities where it's happening. They're being locked down. Do you know what that means? There's no water coming in, no food coming in. The stores are vacant of a lot of things. Plus people are dying, which means more people are going to be having problems. So with that, I suggest don't make a joke out of it. Some people are. Some people blame Trump, some people don't. I mean, it's not Trump's fault. He didn't make the virus. How he treats it, how he works with it is a different story. But even again, I just watched Congress talking, and they said they don't give him all the information. The same as he doesn't know all the information about aliens, UFOs, and everything else. If he did, he'd probably just blow his brains out because he's responsible for all that. When he talked about the space army he's creating, he has no clue what it's for and what it means. Putin told him to. All right, Putin said he wanted him to do certain things, and one of them is to expose what they're doing with UFOs and aliens. He didn't do that. He wanted Trump to expose about 9/11. He didn't do that either. And he thinks he's friends with Putin. He thinks he's friends with China. He thinks he's friends with all these countries. Really? Because you shake the hand? Well, maybe they have a virus on it, and that's what they want to shake your hand for. They got immune to it. Don't forget, whoever created this virus, I'm sure they have the antidote. What good would it be if they created a virus they couldn't stop? They'd end up getting it themselves sooner or later. So, this is a horrible thing. I don't care what UFO people say, what spiritual people say. It's going to kill a lot of people. It already did. All right. Now, is it going to wake people up to what? One world order? Allow it to happen? We have serious problems every which way. We got in the United States, the Democrats and Republicans are fighting with each other like animals. Then we got two people. I hate to say I'm Democrat, but we have two people running. One's kind of a real left-wing rebel, old. The other one's old and going into dementia. Seriously. The only reason why they would allow that or even think about that is because if they allow him in, if he did get elected president, they'd have to take him out right away. And they'd already be getting control of the government. So it's all a bad scenario. If Trump stays in, we're even more trouble. Either way, it's no better. Trump's attacking a native nation. Trump's attacking the animals. Trump's attacking the weather. Trump's attacking land, ocean. He's attacking everything. Your money. So where do you want to go? Who do you think? Government's supposed to be for the people, not people for the government. Do you know what the Constitution is? Do you know what the First Amendment is, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, Fourth Amendment? Do you know? Pull them up. I wrote them down so I know what they are. But the right to bear arms, even that's a ridiculous one. And people really think that if they have a gun and the government comes to try to take them, they could stop them. Really? You shoot a bullet at a government person, guess what happens to you? Your house gets blown up. You really think you're going to be able to survive because you have a gun? And when it comes in numbers, well, I'm going to have 1,000 rounds. You're going to be able to squeeze them all off in 1 second to take out 1,000 people? Or even 100 people? You're going to try, and then what? You're going to get shot and killed and die. The scenario of kill and be killed. You don't go anywhere killing. If you're anywhere spiritual, you wouldn't want to kill somebody, no matter what the reason is. Well, I won't be here no more. Well, then guess what? You won't be in heaven either. You got a choice. You got multiple choices. You make the decisions all the time. So with that, I'm going to try to go into a topic. Hold on. I don't know if I gave. All right. The topic is love. I'm going to go through it. And I know you're not going to like what I say. And you're going to disagree with half of it. You're going to say, well, blah, blah, blah. But think about it. Think about what I'm going to say. First off, do you know what the definition of love is? Not what it says in the dictionary. It's a short sentence or 2 sentences. What's in your mind? What is your definition of love? Oh, I love somebody. Why? What makes you love them? They smell nice. They look pretty. They're sexy. They're great in bed. What makes you love a woman? Or a woman, what makes you love a man? They make you feel good in bed. They make you feel good at night. What's the story? They protect you. They make money to pay for everything you need to buy and want to buy. What is love to people in general? Take love into a relationship. People want to say a relationship's important. To who? To how many people? 60% of people get divorced. How many people cheat on each other? How many people cheat on each other and get caught? How many people cheat on each other and don't get caught? All right. How many people cheat once in a while? How many people cheat all the time? All these little scenarios. Does it fit into your definition of love? I mean, a soulmate is another delusional idea that we meet our soulmate. You meet a person on this planet that you feel you are attached to, and you stay with that person. If you went through reincarnations with them, would only mean you'll probably do it again. If you're that attached to that soul, and that soul is so attached to you that you actually met up again, had the right kind of karma to meet each other again, you're going to serve out the same karma. Has nothing to do with God, has nothing to do with spirit, has nothing to do with leaving this lower realm. All right. The Bible says one thing about love. How much do they know about love in the Bible? How much does it really say? Jesus taught love. We're going to go into that in detail, but let's go back a little further. When was love ever mentioned? It was never mentioned because there was no such thing as love. Love was a controlling factor in any kind of family life. The wife did what the man said. The wife was the victim of whatever the man did or told to do. There was no free will, you could add that to love, for a woman. Then again, when it came to spiritualism, when they all claimed to be spiritual, they would sacrifice children and women. In most cases, men sometimes, but usually men would sacrifice women or children. Is love pertaining to that? Let's go back to the Hindu religion, which is the oldest religion on the planet. All right. They believe in deities. Now, let's break that down. What is a deity? I call them little gods. They're not God. They don't claim to be God. Man puts the words gods out there because of their perverted, twisted, limited ego. Gods, plural. The same as it does in the Bible when it says God talked to Adam and Eve. When he talked to Adam, he lied to Adam. I don't want to get into that story too much because it's all lies, twisted. But it's our kind. Oh, you our. So what did God mean when he said that? Our animals. Our. What's that? And then when he said, because you ate of that, you become one of us. So now you ate of the tree of wisdom. Now eat the tree of life. Life. Because you ate from the tree. Who lives forever? Soul always did. Soul didn't come out of Adam's, the female didn't come out of Adam's ribs, which they make you want to believe. That would mean man came first. And that would give man the ego, which it has, that it's better than a woman. So now let's take it further. Okay, getting back to Hinduism. All the parts of Hinduism are based on Kama Sutra sex and obscenity, controlling sexual power, energy, the deities. The stories. They're stories, they're not the truth of Shiva and Durga and Kali. All right, one of them is Shiva and Durga were having sex, and she cut his head off while they were having sex. The other one is Shiva got frustrated with Brahm and Kal Brahm and the family, and he cut his penis off, but he also killed the city. It's all about sex. The phallic symbol, all right, was created for a reason. Because when Shiva cut his penis off, it was the symbol for society, for life, and women had to give their virginity to that. It's all perverted, twisted. Now, how much of it is it real? All I can say, I experienced being with deities. They're real, but they're not the programmed idea that man wrote about them. Man writes about many things, it has no clue to what it is. When a man writes about a deity, he doesn't know what it is. He has stories, and the stories passed down from somebody else telling stories. Who was the first person? Who actually experienced all the deities? Who even had a closeness to them and understood what they were and why they are where they are doing what they do? Now, deities, I say there's 5 main deities. There's 100 and something deities, but there's 5 main ones. And when you learn about death and you leave this reality, there's 5 levels of soul. And each one of them has a deity on that realm as a god. Not the god, but a god to protect the next realm from getting people that don't belong there, souls. On the astral plane, which is the next one you're going to go to when you die? There's 3 different deities. Jehovah, Satnam, and guess who else is sitting there? Lucifer. Oh, what you could say whatever you want. You could believe he's born here as Satan and things like that. That's all ridiculous. Satan's a different entity. Lucifer was the highest angel. The highest angel. And something you have to think about if you even understand any aspect of God. If God didn't want it there, it would not be there. Which I'll bring it down to love here. But if God didn't want these deities where they are, and in place where they are, they wouldn't be there. They're there for a very important reason. Jesus was the only one that spoke and taught about a real God. A real God. In the Hindu time, in each of those times, they talked about deities. The other word that came across as gods was aliens. If an alien has power, anything with power was given the word God. If you had power over me, you were God. How about not? How about just an alien? Or how about just a deity? And here's something you need to know, which you'll find out when you start working at different levels. You can always go past a deity. Any one of them. Shiva, Durga, Kali. I work with Shiva. I work with Manjushri, but the one I work with the most was Green Tara. All right, now when you work with a deity, they're not going to teach you how to go and get a job. They're not going to teach you how to do makeup on your face, how to change your body sexually. They're not going to teach you those kind of things. But they will teach you about what you need to be and how you need to become aware of what you need to do when you get to these higher realms. That's what a teacher does in the inner worlds. Here they don't. What teacher teaches you anything past the astral plane? You die, you go there. So there's not much to learn about that. Commit suicide, you still go there. Kill somebody, you still go there. Where you go from there is a different story. Buddhism believes in the bardo, and they stay in that place for 40 days. It's hell, and then they get reincarnated and come back here. Well, that's for people with karma, believe in the karma, and believe in that. You only go as high as your awareness allows you to go. And until you can separate soul from mind and ego, you're nowhere. Now, I know all these UFO people and everybody else has an experience with an alien, and suddenly they're spiritual. Really? Oh, they know God now? They know aliens. They know their limited, perverted, twisted thinking. Most alien races have no feelings or emotions. So what can you learn from that? Be emotionless. Just go out and travel the universe and do whatever you want. That's all you're going to learn. Technology has nothing to do with spiritualism. Never did, never will. I mean, even the story of the Tower of Babel, he was trying to build a mountain to get him into heaven. And they create stories like Jack and the Beanstalk, and he had to go up into the higher world where he dwells, where the giants dwell. I mean, the giants lived here. They came here. But, we have a lot of different time frames. And what I became aware of, when I became aware of, is my past lives many years ago. I could say almost all of them. I might have missed one or two that I don't remember or didn't see. But I can go from the beginning of Atlantis to one lifetime before that, all the way up into the present. Now, I will say this. When we have 100 lifetimes or 1,000 lifetimes, you think you would learn something. Now, we constantly are moving forward. The average person, when they reincarnate, come back into this world, from the time they're a baby to the time they're 20, whatever, somewhere in between there, they're going to stick their hand in the fire to see what fire is and get burnt. Touch something hot to understand what hot is. You think like animals, you do something and the animals become aware of that and it becomes part of their awareness. But you're talking about a lower awareness, believe it or not. I mean, the whole story of the monkey eating the bananas and they were dirty and it only ate half of the bananas. The 100th monkey, it's called. And then the one monkey washed his banana off, and then all the monkeys started washing their bananas off. It's a great story, but it's twisted. You can create a story, you can create a scenario to prove an idea. Doesn't make the idea right. So I'm going around a couple different things before we go directly into love, because when we talk about love, we say it takes in all things, and it's all that matters. It's not all that matters. Not the love the human race perceives. Not the human race, the way they perceive it as how it works and what it really has to do with other people. All right. I love my animals. I love my food. I love my car. I love my wife. I love my, go on and on and on. I love my partner. I love to cheat. All right. I love to eat. You know, you can put love in front of a lot of things, but what does it mean? You like it. Now, liking and feelings and emotions, taste, smell, sense, seeing, hearing, they all come out of the mind and the brain. It's thought pulses that go through the body and the senses of the body. Now, just so you know, when you let go of this body, when you die, you move into your astral body. That astral body doesn't have these anymore. It doesn't have a heart, doesn't have a liver, doesn't have a kidney, doesn't have a brain. But it's aware. That awareness is a lot different than the awareness we have here. Coming in. There's nobody coming in. So where do you want to start? Let's start at the beginning again. Love was never here until one particular time. Now, you can look it up in your books and go in any book you want. When was love really mentioned and what did it mean? The 10 Commandments don't mention love. Moses wrote 613 laws that don't mention that aspect. Why is that? I mean, you got the Hasidic Jewish people, the Jewish people following Moses, his laws. They can't even follow the first 10. They're going to follow 613. I worked in the Jewish temple for almost a year. It's horrible what they do and how they act. And the Muslims aren't any better. Now, do I attack religions? I attack religions that attack people. If you attack another person, child, adult, woman, anything, it's wrong. You can't justify killing. Religion is not a justification of killing. If you're a Christian and you went in the army and killed somebody, you're not a Christian. Oh, I am. It's okay to kill people in other countries. Who said so? The president? The Pope? Who gives you the right to kill somebody somewhere else? Did God give you that right? Well, if you don't follow God, you're not following anything important. You're following man-made egotistical ideas. So when we go into the beginning of the early time frames, I'm not going to talk about Atlantis because that was a different thing altogether. When alien races started coming here and playing with the human race and teaching them about suicide, sacrifice, and all those kind of words. It was taught. It's not a natural instinct or an awareness. You don't know what love is until you're told what it is. I mean, an animal loves its mother because it nurses them and gives them something to eat. But does it? See, dolphins are so different than all those kind of creatures. Their brain is equal to ours. They use different parts of it, but it's one quarter of an inch smaller than our brain. So it's very much exact, not like a monkey's little brain or any other creature's little brain. They got a brain just like ours. They use sonar, they use radar with their brain, which we don't have the perception to do. If a dolphin's brain and a human's brain is crushed together, we would be incredibly aware of everything. And I'm not saying they're not going to try to do that. They're trying to clone animals and people together. I'm talking about pigs and things like that. I got somebody trying to come in. Let's see. I have no picture, but that's okay. You can be part of it anyway. Who do we have?
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, how are you? I don't see your picture, but greetings.
Hello. I just figured I'd pop in.
Can you pop your picture in or no?
I can. It's very dark here.
Oh, all right. Dark. The darkness is coming in and getting you, huh?
Right? Like the plague.
The plague's attacking our guest here. So I just blinked out too. So yeah. All right. Now what I was getting to is let's move to uh, the early formation of humans trying to be civilized. And what civilized mean? It sure doesn't mean love. Doesn't have any connection to the word at all. Civilization means man controls society. That's all it means. And the people with money and power control those people. So again, try to find in your search when love was created. Who actually created it? When was it created? It wasn't created ever because man didn't live by it. Now, let's take somebody out of the Bible, which is the only one that really taught about it. Not not in the way people perceive it. You don't go to school. They don't teach love in school, do they? They can't. Do they teach love in high school? College? You could take mental degrees and things like that, but not about love itself because they don't have a clue to what it really means. Jesus was the first person to express and show what love meant. How? How could he show it to a world or people in those time frames when love didn't exist? Ask every Christian how Jesus taught love. How do you teach love? If I sat in a class with you 10 hours, 100 hours, 10 years, what could you teach me about love? Well, good sex and good diet and how you help each other dress. Or, I mean, where would you go with your love idea of what it means? Break it down. Do you love somebody right now? Why? What do they do for you? What do you do for them? Now, here's the thing that makes love important. Love isn't important till you make it important. You could say you love the world. I love my tree. I love my cat. I love the plants outside. I love the dirt. I love the ocean. But that doesn't mean much, does it? Well, I send it love. How do you send love to somebody? Well, I send it to them. That's ego. Thinking you can send love to somebody. All the love in the United States doesn't help the children starving in Africa or any other country. Money helps. Send them money. Send them something that can really work. So we have this preconceived, programmed idea love is beneficial. Now, if you go, which I want to talk about today in as much as I can, what does love help? Every person says love is the answer. They're programmed to believe that. When you're little, you say, wait till you fall in love. Oh, you'll find the person to fall in love with. Oh, you're not really in love with that person yet. All those statements interfere with the way you perceive love.
Yeah.
So when we go into the idea of, okay, how do you really feel love? When a child looks at a person, man, woman, cat, dog, and they hold it and they look in its eyes and they just feel something with it. That's true love. They don't have a boundary or idea of what it really means, just that when they feel or touch that person or animal or whatever it is, there's a connection they don't know how to describe.
Most people lose that once they grow up and everything.
Well, it's taken away. Usually you just don't lose something, it's taken away. It's replaced with lies and stories. Now, I just got into a big discussion with a person yesterday about that. And I said, well, love's important. It's a learning experience. You don't learn much in love. You learn a lot of non-learningness, meaning what you learn in love is useless. The concept of we perceive that when somebody loves you, everything's perfect. Everything changes. It changes in a lot of ways, meaning you let go of a job to be with her, move to a place to be with her, or she moves to be with you. She changes the food she likes to eat. You start changing things, which is an aspect, a very small aspect of love. When I tell people, if you're going to create a relationship, any kind of relationship with a male, woman, female, whatever, however the scenario is going, Even that's pretty different among people now. You have to be willing. And this is one thing that I tell people. I'm not a super counselor or anything like that. I
Your
don't feel
audio, your audio is a little muffled.
I can't do much. All I can do is complain to them
Okay, it changed.
about
It just changed.
about the show again. I mean, they already took my money out for this month.
Oh, sneaky guys.
Yeah, I said, well, and she goes to me, oh, you can quit anytime. Yeah, I can quit every time, but I lose money when I quit
Yeah.
because I pay for the month. So it would be stupid to not serve out the month now. But okay, now here's the scenario which I will give you. When you say I love somebody, what does that mean to you? Well, are you willing to spend the rest of your life with them? Are you willing to spend the rest of your life with them? Yes or no? Yes. All right. How could it change? Well, she gets heavy. I gain weight. She leaves me. I found a beautiful girlfriend. Uh, you can come up with a lot of scenarios. Are you ready to fight and stand for what you just said? Are you a liar? Are you a cheater? Are you delusional? If you're not aware of who and what you are, meaning are you solid in your own truth? You don't lie. So if you don't lie when you say, I'll stay with you forever, that means you'll stay with her forever or him. But the scenario can change any moment. They could be hospitalized and lose their arms. I mean, I'm watching this hospital movie where they had to cut the guy's arms off. If he gave him fake arms, which he used pretty good. But in a scenario, if a man can't get it up, they start looking for another guy. You know, you could say that nothing affects people. It does. If in the beginning of the relationship, you don't decide what's the foundation of that relationship. You know, they always say a house is as strong as its foundation. If you cannot create a foundation, the relationship will never work. They don't tell you how to build a foundation. The first thing they'll tell you is don't talk about government, don't talk about religion. Really? What are you going to know about that person? Do you want to know what they care about, what they think about? Well, if they care about the weather, I'm going to ask them. Really? What are you supposed to marry? A zombie? Well, he loves the weather, and I know we'll go out in the rain, snow, and have fun. Do you know anything about, does he like children? Does he want children? Does she want to have children? You know, it's different if one of the people changes their mind or lies to you. You're not the one that's lying, but you have to commit to your percentage of what you're donating to this relationship. Now, to make any relationship work, this is the number that has to be. It's called 100, and it's got a percent after it, 100%. If you cannot give 100%, the relationship will never last forever. It will die sooner or later. It'll be the simplest little things that'll tear it apart, or big things that'll tear it apart.
Tinfoil says hi.
All right, greetings. I don't need, where's my chat room? Hold on. I got to pull it up. Let me just find it here. Comments. Okay, there it is. Greetings. Hi. All right. Now, when I say 100%, what does that really mean? See, here's the scenario of 100%. You like baseball. Your wife doesn't. She likes to go sewing. So what would be the scenario? You go out and go watch baseball whenever you want. She goes out and sews whenever she wants. That's not the scenario. Scenario means giving up 100% to the other party. So you actually agree on, well, let's go to a game tonight. I'll sit home and watch you sew. It's a mutual agreement 100%. There's no saying, well, I'm going to do this no matter what. A relationship cannot last if somebody says that. It will not. You can't change, the relationship won't grow. When rich people get into a relationship and you see so many of them deteriorate because of the money background, they can do what they want. It's not a matter. In poor families, we'll all do whatever. No, that's not 100% equal relationship either. And it won't last in the end. I mean, relationships 20, 30 years deteriorate. Why? Because they're not willing to make it work. Make it the 100% that it needs to be to survive. If your wife comes to you and says, well, we got to go watch Bambi in the theater today, you go and watch Bambi in the theater today. You don't say, oh no, there's a football game on, you go to the theater, I'll watch my game. No, it's different. You got to give a little, get a little, but it's give 100%, you'll get 100% back. Now, if you commit to 100%, that sure doesn't mean your partner is going to commit to 100%, even if they say that. It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, you're going to get hurt and all those other things. But the truth is, to be a spiritual person, if that's what you're trying to be, or a compassionate person, you need to stay within that 100%.
So what if your partner does not give 100% and they're the reason for the failing relationship? But what do you do then?
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Okay.
Okay, when your partner says, I'm not going to give him no more, he's taking everything. Guess what? She stepped out of that. She doesn't know what love means. Love is 100%. Love is never changing. If you make a commitment and it's in pure love, it doesn't ever change.
Okay.
That doesn't mean she's your soulmate or you're her soulmate, whatever. It means you committed to being in a relationship and love each other. But if you're willing to break that, whoever breaks it is not the other person's fault. Well, they do this wrong. Well, you didn't work out your foundation of your house to put it on. You want to be by the water, he wants to be up in the mountains. That's a foundation. If you can't agree on putting a foundation down, you can't build a house on it. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't get married with all these maybes and maybe we'll change that or we'll change that. I got into relationships where I realized they weren't what I was supposed to be in. And then I tried to change it, and now obviously nobody wants to change. Unless the person's willing to change, do you understand the true concept of what 100% means giving? It means being loving. So you have to sit through some stupid thing. Well, she's going to have to do the same thing for you because she loves you as well. It's a round circle. It goes around. It's not one-sided. It's not up here 50%, 60%. Well, a lot of people, and I used to believe, before I understood it, 60-40 is the way all relationships are, which is what most of them are. And it doesn't work. Because that 40% turns into 100% of being in the wrong situation. Now, I give 60% of the time, you give 40% of the time. But that one time, I say, I have to watch this game, and you say, oh no, we have to go to a wedding. Who's going to get the right answer? See, that's when you have to give in. And then they'll say, well, you can stay home and watch the game. I'll go to the wedding by myself. That would be a compromise of two people that give 100%. But if she says, no, you have to come with me, that's an order. You should be able to willing to say, well, I'll go with you if you want me to. And then because of her love to you, she would say, no, you can stay home. I'm not going to make you go. That's an agreement when you're committed to each other and you're willing to work out to make sure that it's 100%. The 60-40%, no, it ends at any time, any period, and it's about money and sex, usually. You're not making enough money. That you don't love a person if you don't care because you don't like them anymore because he's not making enough money. When he goes to jail, it's a different scenario, but a person could love a person still if they're in jail. If they killed somebody, I'm not going to go into that space. That is different. All right. You can still love that person. That doesn't mean you have to stay or be in supportive of that person. When they go against God, they're going against you as well. So they're really not the 100% of person that people say they are. Now, I challenge anybody to debate me on any of this. Please, my email is down on the bottom. If you believe you know more about love, please prove it. Prove that your idea of love is better. Well, God loves everybody. God doesn't love anybody. Well, do you know or not? Do you know the truth about that? Well, I'm going to go into that in a second. What was that, Sir?
No, I'm saying that statement alone, when I try to explain it to people, they get so angry and shut down. All
right. Now, okay. Yeah, people shut down. programs that on top of programs say about love and what it is and how you have to be and all that. Considering nobody used the word love, it wasn't part of the Ten Commandments, it wasn't part of Moses' laws. Jesus didn't say you have to love each other. You know, when it gets rewritten, there's a new Bible, which is rewritten, and they put the words love in there, and they put that and change it a little bit. All right. Sin was a word that they used then. They don't use the word sin no more. Why sin today? No, I made a mistake today, and justify whatever they do. But let's take that into the deepest realm. Right, love.
You keep pausing there.
I know that I can see it. I can't do anything about it. I complained to them 10 times already. She said, shut your router off, turn it back on. I did. I turned everything off, turned it back on. I shut my AOL off so I don't have that open. The only thing I have open is Skype. I don't know if I'm going to shut it down just to see if it helps.
Yeah, I mean, closing down as many applications as you can.
Well, it's the only thing that's open.
Okay.
So now I'll see if I block. I know I'm going to. Something's wrong somewhere. But getting back to this point, okay, how did Jesus explain what love was to people that had no clue? When Jesus was here, I was there as well. Women were just slaves. No other word. Sex slaves, working slaves, house slaves. A woman considered a spiritual, loving being who was equal to the man. Ever in history. So, okay, when you come home, the woman has to do this, has to do that. I mean, oh, you got to this. Other countries, I'm talking about United States, Buddhism and different religions have different ideas of that. I might go into that a little, but basically they say a woman could have 2 husbands. A husband can have 3 wives. Those kind of things. What kind of love is it? When you splinter something and cut it in half, is it the same? Take anything, cut it in half. Is it the same? No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. No, it's not. Cut it in 5 pieces. Is it the same? Cut a cake in half. Is it the same? No, that half's there and that half's there. Is it the same? No. Cut it in 4 quarters. Is it the same? No, it's only a quarter. And that breaks down the amount of love it actually has to deal with. So when man says they can do this, or a woman says we can do that, but see, in Tibet and other countries where they make it a child, 11, 12 years old, get married, all right, I can go into the aspect of age and when is a child an adult and all that, but still, forcing women is still the number one thing. Forcing children is still another thing in Muslim religion. So when we go back to, okay, what is love to you? First, you got to answer that for yourself. Truly think about it. Is there anything spiritual that you can point out? Say something spiritual to the word love. Well, I love her because God loves me. That's a scenario, but it's not the right scenario. So when you talk about love, and we're talking about creating, when Jesus came here, how did he teach love? Tell me what school can teach you love. The school of love, we go to these sex schools, and you learn how to Kama Sutra or Tantra sex and how to stimulate. That's love. They will tell you it is. See, that's the cross between love and sex. And Hinduism started it a long time ago, making sex turning to love. It basically, when you put your energies together, it swirls up and goes up into God. Delusional, but it's people want to believe that. Sexual experiences are different than God experiences or even out-of-body experiences. I mean, you could get to the astral plane in Kama Sutra or all those words in a state of energy, and they call that God realization. No. Self-realization. No. So back to this idea, when Jesus came out to teach, how did he teach love? He had to show it. The only way you can perceive what love is by seeing actions of it. 2 people kissing. We see our mother and father kiss. So that's what love is for a child. All the things we perceive become the idea and foundation of our idea what love is. When your parent says, well, don't love them, they're too old for you, don't love them, they're not right for you. Well, how do you know what's right and wrong in love? And a child starts losing their perception because they probably had an experience of somebody they loved already, whether it was their family member, their teacher, their friend, it could be anything. And parents do this great thing about separating their child from that. You're too young to be in love. Now, I'm going to go into a couple things. Make sure I come back to this because I don't want to lose this point. But when you're in a relationship, when you're little, it's so different. I want to go forward and then I'm going to go backwards, just so you know where I'm going. When two children are in love and their parents don't like that, why? I mean, two people, 14, 15, they fall in love and they stay in love and they get married. Is that wrong? We weren't sure, but at 16, the parent has the right to say they can get married in the United States. Why does a parent have the right to say two people that love each other should get married? Again, I'm telling you, the morals of society, especially when it relates to love, it's so twisted. And you can't legally get married until what? You're 18? And then you can decide, okay, you're 17, you can't get married, you turned 18, now you can get married. Yesterday went by, now you can get married? Does that make sense? Do you love them different now because you're 18? Does that person love you back more now because they're 18? Oh yeah, now we can get drunk and be happy and married and love and all that. Scenarios that man created don't justify the cause. When we go back to, I want to go back to childhood. Two children, when they're young, try to mimic their parents. How many times does a child walk in a room when their parents are making love or things like that? All right. So what do two children do when they're playing doctor or family when it's a boy and a girl? Now, see, that's where I think even that alone shows you morals of parents aren't aware enough to stay on top of that to teach their children right. Well, I don't want to teach my child about sex until they're 14. Well, they're already having it, doing it, smoking drugs, everything else. So guess what? You waited too long. When do you teach a child the beginning of things is the second they understand the words you're telling them. If you say the stork brings the children, they're never going to understand how a children gets here until later on. I mean, the scenarios that men and women give their children about love twist the concept. Tell them love creates a child, not a stork brings it and drops it off. We have stupid scenarios, which mind boggles my mind when I'm an adult now, but I said, man, what they did to me when I was little, how they made us believe it. I don't want to get into my whole thing, but I didn't see sexual things until I was about 12 or even understand it. And suddenly it completely changed and I became aware of my past lives and everything. It was just instant change. But it doesn't happen for everybody. So when your parent turns around and tries to talk to you about sex, do they really? Well, they want the school to tell you. They want your school to tell you about sex. Well, you shouldn't be talking about sex without adding love to it. When you teach your child about sex, you should teach them you should love a person. You're not paying women to have sex. You're not paying men to have sex. You love a person, and you do. Now, what totally boggled my mind is the show Bachelor. And this one girl, they're down to 3 girls, but the one girl said she's a virgin and saving it for marriage, while the Bachelor had sex with a couple women already. And she turned around and said to him, I want the truth. If you had sex with anybody, I don't want to be with you. He admitted it, which was a good thing. Hold on. Hello.
Hi, Tommy.
Greetings, Bruce. How are you today?
Good, thank you. I don't have a camera on the particular computer I'm using right now.
No, that's fine. I got my other, Sasha doesn't have his on either.
Hi,
Hello,
Sasha.
Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
Hi. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
So
Good.
doesn't matter. You don't have to have your faces on the picture. I mean, I don't even care if my face is here or not, but sometimes people want to see it or not. But all right, now what I was going to say is like children aren't taught right. So how can they grow into this compassionate, loving person? Now, what I want to bring out, which is detrimental in the long term, might not be in the short term. When two children play house and a boy and a girl play and they try to have sex, I mean, they could be at the age where it can happen. They might not be at the age where it can happen. But their parents didn't even give them a clue. I mean, and see, it's different for a boy than a girl. A girl can lose something where a man can't. And if parents don't explain about relationship and love and stuff to a child, how are they supposed to grow? Now, they say they have, and I don't want to go into all the scenarios because most of them are really bad that I had experience to go through. But when you deal with it, and two people have to come out of that, and then you got to face a world where they put it down and say, "Oh, that's okay." It's okay because you're little. All right. Now, little people are important. See, they took the law of the Ten Commandments, which is honor thy mother and father. All right, respect them, okay? But see, the second part of that sentence was left out. A parent has to honor their children. It's a two-way thing. Everything's two-way. Like I said, it has to be 100% on both sides always. You love your child. You can't love your one child 60% and the other one 80% and the other one 100%. Sure you can, but that's not right. So when we get into these two children and say they get into used to playing games like that, and then just supposedly, I'll show you scenarios that can happen. The one family is a nudist family, and they like nudity. So they're walking around nude all the time. Say it's the girl, and her family is a nudist colony people, and they walk around naked and everything. She goes to a party, and everybody starts drinking. She takes her clothes off. You think people are going to understand where she's coming from? See, we create a scenario in women and men where the boundaries are broken because they're not taught right. They don't know the foundation and the levels of understanding that a child needs to grow and to grow right. You feed a child, you come home drunk every night. What do you think it does to a child? When they're playing, they're going to play, I'm the drunk, and I come home and yell. I mean, all the scenarios that build. And then say they're 16 or 18, even they're getting older. They see their father doing it. They see their mother doing it. It's okay. Again, it destroys the concept of building that 100% security in a relationship, whether it's with your family, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. And you can't break that down to 60-40 ever. And Bruce left, but so when you break it down, all right, I know people don't like the truth. And when you talk to a family, getting back to what we started, Tasha, when you talk about that, parents don't want to hear that. They don't care what their children do until it's, they're 18 now. Oh, you shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't do this. Oh, really? But also, I'll tell you this, and I know it for a fact. It might be different. It's changing because there's no morals there. Women weren't allowed to date. When I was young, girls weren't allowed, not women, girls were not allowed to date. Most girls had to stay home. They weren't allowed to go on a date with the guy. I felt I like this girl a lot, and I went to the house. Oh, she's not allowed to date guys, and stuff like that. And, there's a limit to the security when you do it right or when you do it wrong. You explain the things like there was a show on TV, I guess it was Tommy, and it was like a little boy, and I think it was Bill Bixby was his father, and he always explained something to him when something was wrong. He didn't beat him, didn't punish him, but he explained what it meant. A child needs to know right and wrong. If a child doesn't get shown that, they don't learn it. So when we talk about how does a person learn that level of awareness, they don't. Because when a child is growing and they start dating, suddenly the parents care? Really? Do the parents really care now because they say they care?
No, I don't think they do.
They don't. And it's a sad thing because what I found out, and this is factual, in a lot of relationships, when a mother and father split up and the wife, usually it's the wife, usually not the man, finds another boyfriend. And they're trying to hold on to that. for some reason. It's definitely not 100% both ways. It might be 10% to 90%. But they're trying to hold on to that. During that time, their boyfriend decides to have sex with their daughter, which happens a lot. I mean, it's sick, perverted, and twisted, but it happens a lot. Then again, what even makes that worse is the mother tries to not believe it or hear it. Now, I'm going into the most horrible scenarios which exist in a large way. It's not small, it's big. All right. And women try to make it, pacify it, and everything else. I was on grand jury duty for a year. And every week we had the same cases about child abuse, and it was the uncle, and it was this. But, I trust my uncle with him. Trust is a word that shouldn't be given to everybody.
It's more of the fact that they don't want to face the reality of the situation.
Well, that's a problem. And it's a problem for morals, which we lost because of that. If people respected each other, respected their children, we can grow in a better way. You don't fill your children with lies. That's not going to help a child understand life. Because their mind, when they're little, is so open to everything, every feeling, every emotion. And when you're giving it the wrong ones, it takes that in and accepts it. Now, I'll take that into the worst level. When it's a child that's abused. Oh, you put a picture up.
Yeah, I was in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. So when you have a child and they get older and they're in a situation, things change. Parents don't look at the outcome of any situation they do. They justify it because I feel, I think. And that separates them from their child. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Because I know what happened to me in my life. My mother wouldn't let me go with this girl because she was Jewish.
Yeah, you told me that.
I mean, there's a lot of little things that happen in a relationship. So, but when your parents get involved in the wrong way, they don't know better. But see, what I was going to take that to the next level. When a child of abuse grows up, they look for abuse in a relationship. And there's so many relationships where it's abusive and they stay in it. I'm talking even my mother. But I went to sex clubs and found out. I talked to basically everyone there. I learned the facts about it. It all stems from child abuse. So when I'm talking about a family, when they give to a relationship 100%, they sure wouldn't hurt the other person. Never mind, they would lastly hurt their child. So when a person says, oh, I love you, I give you everything. No, they don't. And ask a person, how much are you willing to give to your relationship? Well, I'll give a lot. I'll give I'll give all. I will give all. And if they say that, can you hold them to it? You can try. Like we were talking about. Now, if the other party splits that, it's not your fault. Even though you're going to say, what did I do wrong? What did I do? No. Darkness, demons, entities can step in a person and take them from wherever they are because they're not aware, they're not protected, and they're not in tune with truth and spirit. So there's a lot of things. If you're going to have a child, what you need to teach them, the way you should teach them, the things you should protect them from, especially when you're having a different relationship. Now, I watch all these movies to see how it plays out, like 90 Day Romance, and you marry somebody in another country. The laws are so different. The beliefs are so different. And then you try to bring your children into it. And they usually don't work. Then there's dating people in prison. I mean, another scenario, they come out and they get married or try to get married. I mean, another scenario that doesn't work. People that are not at 100% level of loving will probably never attain that. You start off being, I would say, you'd start as a child, you're 100% loving. Depending on the conditionings, usually how much of that gets taken away from you. I'm lucky. I fill that gap, but it took me time to fill it because I dropped down percentage. I wasn't willing to give that kind of percent to anybody because you only get hurt. And then I said, well, in the long run, it took me a long time to learn that. And it's going to take you a long time to learn that if you don't try to recognize it right away. And the easiest way to do that is look yourself in the eye and say, how much am I willing to give to my relationship? What am I willing to give to my partner? What am I willing to do for my partner? And then you talk to your partner about that. Never get married in a week if you can't talk things out. And you don't have to talk in years. You can ask the simplest questions right away. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in love? And how much are you willing to give to it? Do you want children? What kind of food do you like? Where do you want to live? And things like that. All those
Do you
things.
smoke? Do you drink? All that stuff.
All that stuff, right? I never drank, never smoked, so I never had to give that answer to anybody because I didn't. So when you get to a place where you say, okay, I do. Now, what do you do to spend the rest of your life? That was a vow that they always used. How many people committed to that? Very few. So when I'm talking about love is because the concept of love, even we're going to go take that now the next step. I love my partner. My partner loves me 100%. Now, what does that really mean do you understand love? You understand the most important aspect of love in this physical world. And what does that mean? Love of a physical body. Now, when your partner dies, do you still love her? Well, I still love her, but I want to get married and have children, blah, blah, blah. All right. What does it really mean after the body dies? See, that's the concept that people don't talk about, people don't teach. Jesus was the only one teaching about that. And the second part, and the most important part, I could say it's really the third part, but the part of loving God. How do you love something you don't know what it is? Well, then you should be working on what it is that you should be loving. Well, how am I going to find out how to love God? Well, work on that idea and you will. It's like, say, how do I love a monkey? Well, go out into the zoo, find a monkey and say, feed it and stuff and see if you can kind of learn to love it. Or a puppy, whatever. The same thing with God. It's, well, I open my heart and I pray to God and God hears me. Well, assuming God hears you is another delusional idea. In God's reality, which I could talk about, all right, for many reasons, but in God's reality, it doesn't come down here. It doesn't come into this physical world. Ever. God's all around us. You think God would want to dwell in hell? What perceptive, twisted, sick idea would give you the idea that God would want to be in this rat race? Well, if it was here, if it was, you think it would walk down the street and let children be raped, abused, killed, sold into slavery? Do you think it would allow people to blow people up? I mean, do you think any of those things God would say, wow, that's interesting. Hey, look what they're doing over there. They just chopped that guy's head off.
Yeah.
Really? Do you think God is that trivial? See, people have no concept of a real God, and then they want to make God their protection. Well, God protects me. Well, we're going to talk about that right now. What is God's protection? There's only one. You can say all these things you want. Well, I was in a car crash. I was in a plane accident. I was in a skiing accident, and God protected me. From what? Leaving this world? Jesus taught about leaving this world. He didn't teach about staying here. Every time somebody says, well, I was protected and I stayed here, maybe you could have went to the higher worlds, but no, you chose to stay in hell. There's always that choice that man makes and women make. Or you can break it in any given time when you decide that this isn't the highest level and you don't want to stay in it. So God comes down to this world. What would he do down here? What would it do? Maybe burn the whole planet up and say, man, I created a real cesspool. No, God didn't create it.
We did.
everything we needed to move forward. And we rather believe aliens that abduct us and eat us and use us is going to help us move forward.
No. We did this to ourselves.
We do it to ourselves. And we do it out of lack of love, lack of understanding of love, lack of understanding God. Now, is this a religious talk? People say God's religion. God's not a religion. When you were born, was birth a religion? No, it was sex that produced something.
Yeah.
The same as God produced us and put us here. But it didn't give us limitations.
Even,
it could have.
yeah.
What, Sasha?
Even that fact alone, people can't wrap their heads around. So yeah, it's amazing.
Talking to Christians is hard. I do it all the time. I love to. I challenge them, and they don't even know the Bible. I had the 21 evangelists or whatever it's called.
Okay.
I had two of them talking to me a couple of days ago. I had the White House, White Tower, whatever the other ones are. I was talking to them, and they like to talk. Now the 21 evangelists, I said, well, are you willing to learn? No, they said, we're here just to teach. I said, what can you teach me? And I said, do you know something? And I asked them, no. I said, it's in the Bible. I said, did you ever read the Bible? Oh, I read the Bible. What part of the Bible did you read? What part of the Bible do you remember? Yeah. Quoting sentences and words is just that. Quoting the truth is a lot different. You could read a whole chapter, Peter, Paul, Matthew, Mark. I mean, you could read the stories. You could read Moses' stories. But what of the truth is in that you perceive and understand? So when they were talking to me, I said, do you even understand about sin? Well, we're forgiven for all things. I said, you can't kill somebody and go to God and say, forgive me for it. You may believe you can, but that's what reincarnation was created for. I mean, there's a lot of things created, but man doesn't accept it. Christianity doesn't accept reincarnation.
Preaching other people's writings is easy too,
Preaching what somebody says is easy.
Yeah.
Believing it is easy. Proving it is impossible. Proving God exists is just about impossible to this reality. Because all man wants to do is prove that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's easy to prove something doesn't exist. Well, it just doesn't exist because I don't see it. I was a magician for many years. And they said, oh, can you disappear? I said, yeah. You want to see me? Yeah. Close your eyes. And they closed their eyes and they opened them and they, oh, no, you're still there. I said, well, I disappeared when you closed your eyes, didn't I? I mean, people really expect certain things because they're programmed. And in the magic world, when you're putting all these fake ideas into people's minds, believing these things are real. Now, here's a scenario. 90% of all adults will be faked or tricked by a magic trick. 80% of children will not. If you ask them how the trick was done, they'll come almost like 80-90% of telling you exactly how the trick was done. Where an adult mind goes, well, to make a hand disappear, it would have to be dematerialized and you have to get... They go into scenarios that the mind's just a computer chip trying to put through it and try to analyze it and figure it out, which you can't do. So obviously, adults cannot figure out magic. Now, I watch America's Got Talent, and they have a lot of incredible magicians on there. I haven't been involved in magic, stage magic, for many years. But what they're doing now is so incredible. And I can't say I know how they do it all. Am I saying they're really psychic? No, I'm not. Chris Angel, who's the top magician on the planet right now, I would say, does some incredible tricks, but I can analyze them and figure them out how they're done. I mean, he was in Central Park, and he had a person, and he cut him in half, and he put the one half on the other person. The other half started crawling across the ground. He picked it up and put it on the other half, and he did this in the park. And people think he's an angel or a deity, a demon. I mean, a UFO person says he's an alien. I mean, we do these things because adults can't figure it out. They have to label it. Rather than admitting they just don't know and they don't want to give it, like there's a reasonable answer for what happened. I mean, when an entity walks into your house, there's no reasonable answer for that. So I'm not trying to add that into this scenario. I mean, stage magic is magic, meaning it's not real. All right? What you see is not really happening. Somebody gets cut in half, cut in 3 parts, disappears. All those things aren't really happening.
Yeah, I don't want to waste my time with stage magic. It doesn't interest me.
Well, a lot of people loved it. I loved doing it. But I pulled out of it to go into fire reading and fire dancing because it was real to me. I used glass, I used fire, and it was real. Hold on. I need a sip of water real bad. Uh-oh, I'm going to sneeze. I'm getting the virus.
You got the corona.
Uh-oh. So, I also did real magic for a part of my life, and there's such a big difference with that. But I'm not going to add that to the word love because it doesn't fit the same place. But getting back to adult, how they relate to children, it's different. How they relate to their partners. It's not up to the level where we should be. You would assume Jesus gave us teachings, showed us what love was. You'd think in 2,000 years, we could have gotten a lot closer to what love is. And we're a lot further away. Does that make any sense? So when a religion says they're real and right and all that, I said, right about what? What does your religion offer the world? Forgiveness. Oh, well, if I killed the whole planet, would God forgive me? I mean, the scenarios that they use is mind-boggling to justify a lie. It's the same in the UFO world. So, hold on. I don't know if he's going to try to come on the show. I doubt it, but let me just take a quick pic.
Who's that?
Jeffrey Seelman.
Oh, Jeffrey. Okay. That'd be a nice surprise.
Only could come on for a few. I'm just going to tell him, let's set a time. So, we're at a place where I don't want to. I tried to get into it a little to help you understand the aspect of it. Religions use the word love. Psychics use the word love. Healers use the word love. But look at the world right now. How many people are sending love? Oh, we're all sending love to India, China.
Does he have the link?
He said he can't come on, no problem.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to tell him, no problemo.
We're just chatting away here.
So, questions, answers, my link is down below, hawksblood1aol.com. Please, if you have questions, you want to get into the aspect of this, I have somebody that wants to meet me now. They said they'd really love to sit down and talk to me directly, which I don't mind doing if you're in Hawaii. Otherwise, I use Skype a lot. I feel I'd rather talk to a person and see them than talking to a shadow. Because, with sharking out there and what is it? Am I using the right word? Catfishing. And there's another word, too. Ghosting. I mean, all these words that you're using the internet for, meaning you don't ever really get to the truth and to what's really important during it. People lie, change their make-believe face and everything else. So Love has taken a twist, but people accept it. People talk to people for 3 years, never met them, never saw their picture even, and say they love them.
Yep.
Do you think that's love? They can't even send you a picture of themselves, and they love you so much, right?
Right.
So we're in a desperate space, and now what's happening, we're going to be a lot more desperate. I'm putting a book out. I don't want to talk about it right now, but we're going into a scenario where crime and many things are going to escalate. So what I'm saying is learn to be cautious, learn to be aware, keep your attention as awake as you can. Don't say, well, this is okay. Even car accidents, most car accidents happen closer to home because you look down your guard. Crime in the house happens because you leave your door wide open and, oh, it's okay. Nothing's okay anymore.
Nope.
Those days are gone. People are different. And like I said, they do not understand love. They say they do, but they don't.
Well, now you've got country after country releasing all the prisoners, so they're just out in the streets doing God knows what now. What the heck?
We move backwards. Every time we take a step forward, we take 3 steps backwards.
I'm like, are you guys serious?
They're delirious is right. So all I can say, people, is love is not what you think it is. And if it is, you better make it be. You can turn love into real or fake. But I hope you change it into real and follow through when you make a commitment and believe it and accept it. And I know it's hard to say that it's not my fault when a person leaves you. To them, it probably is your fault. But realize, if you're doing the best you can, giving 100%, there is nothing else you can do. And nothing you could do can stop it. I mean, I went through 3 marriages, and it's just hard when a person just leaves you. So, after that, sure, you're hurt and down and desperate and all kinds of things go. But when you blame yourself for it, you said, I did everything I can. But some people, even my last wife, said she wasn't ready, really. And she had to experience other things. When a person's not ready, they're not ready. But they should realize that when they tell you, I'm going to give you 100%. That's why I ask, when you're creating a relationship, build a foundation, get the foundation laid, and then put the 100% in there, and you'll have a happy marriage. A relationship, whatever you want it to be. But you have to be willing. Don't expect an alien to come down and wave his magic fingers over you, give you gold bricks and build you a gold house and tell you I gave you superpowers as well. Is that going to help you love a person? Might help a person love you because now you got gold bricks, but outside of that, no. So there's a lot of things that mankind is accepting and filling in the blanks with make-believe stuff. Don't do that. Put your feelings and emotions to the test. Put yourself on the line always. If a relationship's worth having, it's worth putting 100% into it. Especially if you feel it's the right person. So don't be afraid to talk out the problems and the questions and the answers all before you get married. If a week after you're married and she says, I don't want to have children, and you say you do, it's over your problem. And if you go for 2 years and maybe you go, I really want to have children. I don't. Well, I went through that myself. My ex-wife had tubal ligation, and she couldn't have children. My first wife, I said I wanted to have a child, and then all of a sudden she got pregnant. She gave herself a miscarriage. Happened with my girlfriend as well. So what you want, what you try for. If the person says it, it's not your fault because they suddenly decide they don't want to do it. But we always hold that on ourselves. It's about being respectful to yourself as respectful to everything you do and everybody you relate to. And you'll find out it doesn't matter anymore because God suddenly has an open eye for you to come towards it. Meaning it's going to allow you to experience it. So, and that's what I say you should always be looking for, because when you open your heart and you open up what you do and do it right, you get closer to that aspect. So, thank you, Sasha, for tuning in.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
thank you everybody for listening. Please send this link to everybody you know. I don't think it would hurt them to listen. They can call me and call me any words they want, and I'll debate them on it. But please, it's only the truth. That's all I can put out there. I'm not able to lie. I don't want to lie. There's no reason to lie. And you don't need any more lies because there's billions of them out there already. So with that, have a
Yep.
good day, good night, wherever you are. Hope it's what you want. If not, try to make it that. Till next
Take it
time.
easy. Take it easy, tinfoil, and we got a new one that came in. Jero Benu.
Yeah, well, greetings everybody in there. It was a pleasure. Hope you got something out of it. If not, I'm sorry. I did the best I can. I always try. I try harder. I was just, I want to do a couple more shows on a couple different things now because of what's happening in the world. But I felt love right now and what's happening with that is the foundation. Then we can move on to other things. If we really don't care about other people, what are we going to do with this world? Nothing. Nothing good.
Yep.
So with that, thank you everybody. Till next time.
All right. See you, Tommy.
Bye-bye. Thank you everybody that's in the chat room. It was a pleasure. Till next time, I might be a few days. I know I do a show Tuesday with Tina, if she's okay. But outside of that, I'm probably might do another show over the weekend. Later.